Hello and welcome to Iraqi Dinar Hub. It's a big story making waves right now among people who closely follow global finance and currency movements. A quiet but steady rumor is spreading, hinting at a major shift involving Iraq's national currency. This story, which many are calling the hidden green light, centers on the idea of a secret go-ahead and unconfirmed directive that, if true, could completely change the value and position of the Iraqi dinar. It's a bold claim that's drawing serious attention because it connects to politics, banking, and Iraq's future economy. The focus is on a possible move that, if it actually happens, would mark one of the biggest monetary shakeups the country has seen in decades. At the heart of this circulating story is one striking allegation that a directive linked to former U.S. President Donald Trump quietly kicked things off. According to this version of events, Trump's network supposedly reached out behind the scenes to Iraq's central bank, pushing for a revaluation of the dinar to a level within 5% of the US dollar. It's a bold and dramatic claim, suggesting a politically driven maneuver that could instantly change Iraq's financial standing. Naturally, it sparked deep discussions and analysis, with many trying to figure out if something like this could even be pulled off within today's complex global system. To grasp why this rumor carries so much weight, you have to look at the dinar's history. For decades, after wars and sanctions, Iraq's currency has stayed at a fraction of its former value. The idea that it could suddenly rise to nearly match the US dollar is nothing short of extraordinary. If that were to happen, it wouldn't just be a recovery, it would be a complete transformation overnight. That's what makes this story so captivating. It paints a picture of Iraq's currency going from struggling to standing tall on the global stage, from undervalued to potentially elite. How this supposed directive came about is another intriguing piece of the puzzle. The story claims it didn't come through open diplomatic channels, but through quiet treasury backdoors, a sort of private network between high-level financial contacts. The idea here is that the U.S. quietly gave Iraq the nod to move forward with long-delayed reforms. This version of events suggests deep coordination between Washington and Baghdad, cooperation that isn't being officially acknowledged anywhere, and that's important, because so far there's been no public confirmation of any of it. The phrase within 5% of the US dollar has become a major talking point. Supporters of the story say it's not just a random number, it's financial code. They argue it points to a managed peg, meaning Iraq's currency could be tightly linked to the dollar, but still allowed minor movement inside a narrow range. By tying the claim to real financial language, it makes the story sound more structured and plausible. Within that context, reports are even breaking down what that might mean in numbers. Somewhere between $4.75 and $5.25 per dinar. It's a massive jump from where the dinar stands today, and it's that specific figure that fuels the excitement and speculation. If something like that were to happen, it would be one of the most extreme currency changes in modern history. Such a dramatic leap would instantly rewrite Iraq's economic story. This marks what they call the beginning of a new global financial chapter. The dinar's rise, they argue, would represent more than just money. It would be Iraq's comeback moment, a way for the country to reclaim influence and stability, not just as an oil giant, but as a powerful and respected player in the financial world. The narrative also explores why this supposed move would be happening now, focusing on Trump's business-minded worldview. It connects the idea to his long-standing focus on trade balances, oil, and financial power. The claim is that he views strong currency control as a way to boost leverage in negotiations. The rumored revaluation becomes a geopolitical chess move, one aimed at reshaping economic power rather than just playing politics. It's a strategic theory that sees money as a tool of influence rather than just value. Building on that idea, the reports bring Iraq's massive potential into focus. The nation's huge oil reserves and increasing gold holdings are often cited as the solid backing behind such a bold shift. The argument goes that a stronger dinar, supported by these assets, could reshape energy markets and shift influence away from countries like China and Iran. In that sense, this alleged move would be a win-win, strengthening a U.S.-aligned ally while giving Iraq real financial independence. It's portrayed as a partnership where both sides benefit. America gains influence, Iraq gains strength. From there, the narrative dives deeper into technical talk. It points out that the within 5% concept, ESN-T, random but actually ties into International Monetary Fund (IMF) policies. Under those policies, nations stabilizing their currencies can operate within a tight band, usually about 5% up or down from a pegged rate. By linking this rumor to IMF-style management, it adds a sense of realism. The supposed target rate of $4.75, $5.25, therefore, is presented as a perfect fit. In this version of events, Iraq is simply waiting for the official signal to go live, a ready-to-launch moment. Backing up this idea, the story highlights the major cleanup Iraq has done within its financial system over the last few years. Reports describe a country quietly modernizing its banking sector, cracking down on corruption, removing shady dealers, and restructuring its entire financial foundation. It's all framed as part of a hidden checklist leading to this potential revaluation. According to the story, Iraq's systems are now up to international standards, digital, transparent, and well-connected to major players like JP Morgan and Citibank. Those technical upgrades are often cited as solid proof that Iraq's preparing for something big. The narrative goes further, mentioning new anti-money laundering laws, better trade monitoring, and tighter digital controls. All these improvements, it claims, are stepping stones toward a stable and trusted financial future, exactly the kind of groundwork needed before pulling off a huge currency reform. When combined, these steps are painted as the final touches before the ultimate reveal. Adding another layer of intrigue, the reports draw attention to recent U.S. Treasury visits to Baghdad. Officially, those trips were about financial cooperation, but according to insiders pushing this story, they were actually much more final coordination meetings for the currency move itself. Soon after, another piece of the puzzle supposedly surfaced: bank screen leaks. Internal systems at major banks like Chase, Wells Fargo, and HSBC allegedly began showing new, higher dinar rates on private, non-public trading platforms. The reports say those internal rates weren't random. They were showing that same $4.75 to $5.25 range. And that timing, right after U.S. Treasury visits, is what keeps people talking. For believers, this was the proof they needed, the financial system warming up before the official launch. It's seen as the transition point from rumor to readiness, where everything is in place and just waiting for the big announcement. Then comes the big question: why now? The story ties it to the massive changes sweeping global finance in 2025: digital currencies, new trade systems, and a move toward asset-backed economies. In this shifting landscape, the rumor claims Iraq can't afford to stay tied to the old system. With the IMF and U.S. Treasury both reportedly satisfied with its reforms, Iraq is said to be ready to step forward, and this 5% parity is supposedly its ticket into the new financial era. Another aspect of this narrative is the human side, the millions around the world holding Iraqi dinar, many for years, waiting for it to rise. For them, this isn't just about money. It's about hope, the belief that Iraq will finally see its wealth reflected in its currency's value. The reports also touch on responsibility, reminding people that if this event were real, managing new wealth wisely would be key, through smart investing, planning, and awareness of taxes and regulations. Of course, the story also acknowledges skepticism. The dinar community has seen countless RV dates come and go, but supporters insist that this time feels different. The evidence, they say, isn't just talk, it's the modernization of Iraq's systems, official visits, and those alleged internal rate tests. To them, banks don't run fake rate checks for fun. They do it when something's about to go live. That's the argument driving the belief that we're closer than ever. The potential ripple effects of such a move are also part of the discussion. If Iraq really did revalue its currency too near the US dollar, it could trigger what some call a global currency reset. Others, like Vietnam or Indonesia, might follow suit, aligning their currencies more closely to their actual resource values. In that sense, Iraq could be the first domino in a worldwide rebalancing act. The story loops back again to the US angle, suggesting Trump's directive would fit perfectly with his long-standing push for fair trade and fair currency values. Supporters argue this isn't manipulation, it's correction. The idea is that a strong, fair value dinar helps restore balance globally while boosting America's own trade leverage. It's a strategic move not just for Iraq, but for the broader world economy, a case of building balance through strength rather than control.